Hello, everybody. I'm Johnny McCobb, the creep with the class. I'm here at Horror News Net TV. I am with my friend Richard Rowntree here. He is the director of Dogged, one of the movies I saw at the Buffalo Dreams Fantastic Film Festival this past weekend. It was a fantastic movie. We actually did an interview at the festival, but it was such a large reception, it was rather loud, so it ended up being unusable. So Richard was good enough to let me try again, and here we are. So, how are you doing today, Richard? I see you made it back to the UK safely.
Yes, thank you. Having a good Sunday. I've got to go off to work later on this afternoon, so been kind of buzzing around doing a load of jobs this morning.
I completely understand. A lot of multitasking, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. All right. So, Dogged. It was a fantastic movie. As I mentioned to you, I loved the aesthetic of it. I mentioned to you that the big difference between a movie shot in the UK versus a movie shot in the US is a movie with in the UK there's a lot more. I mean, yours is a much older country, so you have a much older aesthetic there, and I really did like that. So, I know I already asked you this. So, how did you come up with the film Dogged?
So it started life about 3 years ago as a 4-minute micro short that we made for a show on BBC Three called The Fear, and we ended up doing really well on that. And we sat down, the four of us producers, and had kind of talked about how we would expand it if it got a good reception, and it did get a great reception. Played at Buffalo there and won Best Micro Short last year. By which time we had actually already started shooting the feature, and we played several other festivals and got some really good reviews. So we sat down, and I mean the short film was kind of much fairy tale inspired, kind of Little Red Riding Hood vibe to it, and obviously that's a tough one to kind of drag out over an hour and a half feature film. So we kind of toyed around with a few different ideas, and we're all big fans of the folk horror subgenre, so we decided to kind of develop it into that kind of movie. We started shooting in August last year, and then we wrapped up in November last year, and then we did the post-production over Christmas and through the first quarter of this year, and had it finished sort of late spring.
I do remember the micro short there. It was really impressive. I mean, that's actually a trend I'm starting to see is movies being adapted, full-length movies being adapted from short films. It's something I don't remember happening too much previously, but we are starting to see more of it. Obviously, your film, that movie Lights Out. There were a few others that have been done recently. So it's an interesting trend that's happening. I think that's a really it's a good way to actually make a movie. It's much less of a gamble if you can make the short film on a much smaller budget, test the waters, get the good get reception, and then use the short film to actually help get publicity and funding for the feature. So it's a very smart way of doing things. Was that your intent?
No, it wasn't. We are aware that a lot of people kind of do make these short films as a kind of a proof of concept almost of a feature film, particularly with the crowd-funded films. A lot of the time people who are pledging to donate to these projects, they don't know the filmmakers, they don't know what their past record is, but if they can see something tangible in front of them, these guys have made this, for example, for $500 in 2 days, then then it's worth helping them reach their target of $20,000 for something they're going to spend 20 days making, for example. So it does work really well, I think, for filmmakers who haven't necessarily had a lot of festival screenings and the opportunity to build up a big fan base beforehand, because that's what the crowdfunding is all about. I mean, the majority of the backers there are coming from friends and family and people that have seen your past work. So I think it's a great idea for young filmmakers to go down that route.
Yeah, absolutely. And what you're saying, especially if they don't know who the filmmaker is, that type of thing. I mean, myself, I've been producing for a while, and I definitely like to see that the filmmaker has some sort of previous experience before I even sign on to help produce a movie. So it definitely, it's definitely beneficial there. Now, one thing that I really liked about this movie that you had mentioned last time was all the little Easter eggs. I mean, you guys are huge horror fans, and you just kind of peppered just all these little references throughout this entire movie. Can you point out a couple of those for people who might watch the movie coming up?
Yeah, for sure. So there's there's one at the beginning. The priest character, Father David, in the film is he refers to a hymn that they're going to sing in church, and it's hymn number 237, which is a reference to The Shining, which is one of my favourite movies with Room 237. We tried to get a kind of an homage shot to The Thing into the movie as well. There's a few others in there. I'm trying to think what they are. I don't know. Put me on the spot. I can't remember. But yeah, there's several throughout in there as well.
I remember you had mentioned there were a few of them right in the bedroom. Didn't you say there was actually a copy of The Wicker Man on display in the bedroom? Was that correct?
There's a DVD of The Wicker Man in there. For everyone to see, because obviously that's a big reference point for this film, and it's kind of the standout folk horror subgenre movie.
Absolutely.
One. And it surprises me still. A lot of people, had never seen the movie. People who are big horror fans, and I don't know whether that's because of the kind of the fact that it is that subgenre, or the fact that it's kind of a little bit out of the ordinary, or just because it's an older film. But it's one that I recommend to any horror fan. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think honestly the original Wicker Man has just been blemished at this point by the remake. I mean, honestly, when I think the Wicker Man now, I just think Nicolas Cage screaming "the bees, the bees."
The bees. Yeah, another reference in there to the Wicker Man. When the main character Sam, he takes his girlfriend out for a coffee, and they go to a cafe that's called the How Do Tea Shop, and How Do is of course the song that Britt Ekland sings in The Wicker Man Through the Wall to main character Edward Woodward when she's trying to seduce him.
I love movies that have this much thought put into every scene. It's really impressive. It really is. You did a great job with it.
Thank you.
And I mean, you won the Best International Horror Film Award at Buffalo Dreams. So congratulations on that there.
Thank you very much.
Let me ask you, what's next, Richard? What are your plans for the future?
So we've got a few projects on the go at the moment. I think our next one's probably going to be a home invasion movie. I think we having done our first feature and it being received so well, obviously, we're all very buoyed by the response that it's got, but we're also kind of aware that it was a slightly crazy project to take on in terms of the scope. First feature, we had so many different locations. There's kind of 22 or 23 principal cast members, and it was really, it was an ambitious project. And while I'm not shying away from that, I want to keep things a little bit more contained this time. So we're probably going to go with a home invasion movie, which is kind of five or six principal cast members, and hopefully a little less logistically challenging to produce.
Right, it's a movie that could basically be done mostly in one house, which makes things a lot easier. Absolutely. Exactly. I mean, you went all out on the first one. It came out amazingly. You deserve to, take a little bit of an easier path on the second one.
Well, I mean, I think we with them. We used a lot of natural lighting. That was supplemented a lot in Dogged, but we want to be able to experiment a little bit more with trying a few different aesthetic looks as well. Mm-hmm. And sound recording is obviously not easy. When we were doing Dogged, we were by the seaside. We were under flight paths of major airports, and
yes,
it was a challenge. And Craig and our sound guys did a lot of work for us in post, cleaning it up. So hopefully, having a contained location will give us a bit more chance to experiment more with that side of things.
Oh, fantastic! Do you have anything in particular thought up as far as a home invasion film, or do you just know that that's the type of movie you want to make?
Yeah, no, I've already started writing it actually with co-writer Matt Davies. So it's hopefully going to be something a little bit out of the ordinary. And yeah, I mean, home invasion movies, I think it's all about making the characters who are under attack kind of very sympathetic and enabling the audience to feel what they're going through. I think that's something that the movie The Strangers did very well. You're kind of treated to this whole kind of backstory with Liv Tyler and her partner in it, and that kind of makes the threat all the more tangible. Obviously, what The Strangers does very well as well is keeps them, the bad guys masked the whole time, which makes it a bit more threatening. But I want to kind of show why they're attacking the people they're attacking as well. So hopefully it'll be a good character piece again.
Sounds very interesting. I look forward to seeing it.
Thank you.
Well, I definitely want to thank you for taking the time to redo this interview here. Again, it was a fantastic movie. You should be very proud of how it came out.
Thank you.
Before I let you go, is there anything else you would like to tell the viewers?
I hope you get a chance to see it. You can follow us on Facebook, it's Dogged the Movie, and on Twitter, it's at Dogged the Movie. You can follow me as well at _Rowntree, ROWNTREE, and stay in touch, and hopefully we'll see you for the next one.
Absolutely, I hope to. All right, thank you much, Richard. You have a good one, okay?
Thanks, John. Cheers.
Bye.